the reason why some of the smartest people in the world from Wall Street, some of the biggest private equity players are playing in this world. They're playing in it because they see growth. So with all this technology, and you mentioned like all, the World Cup, and we're gonna be, as we do currently, we track every single movement that every player makes on a field at the highest of levels today. We've got to hide the tech, right? I mean, the tech, you can't be thinking about like, oh, I'm using technology. No, you're just doing things that you do in your normal life. And it's just the fact that now, if from all the tech that we're doing, if AI, all of a sudden shrinks our work week to like 3 or 4 days, what the heck are we going to do with the rest of our time? Right? So it's cool.
And the interesting thing about you mentioned, rights. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of moving away from broadcast TV a little bit. Even though live sports, it seems, is kind of the biggest advertising revenue generator today. But like, let's see what happens with Formula One, for example. They're on ESPN now. They might be going to Apple, and what does Apple do with it? Do they include it as part of Apple TV Plus, or is it going to be another tier like MLS? So that should be that's the next interesting one. Yeah.
And their movie, I just recently heard that the F1 movie is the all-time, grossing, sports movie ever, right? I mean, it's like it's doing incredibly well, right? So that's fascinating. I mean, you see just the overall interest from it's just sports entertainment, right? It's all converging and coming together, and people just people love sports, right? I mean, they love to watch their teams, cheer on their teams. It's a great way to be entertained, right? It's the last bastion of live entertainment. It's the thing that we all want to run out of our office and go do, whether that's with our kids, ourselves, or go watch a game or be at a game, or be part of it all. I mean, like what's coming to the U.S. This football season, and then you've got next year with the World Cup is going to be
Mm.
unbelievable with the
Yeah.
amount of interest around that. The sports, the biggest event in the world is coming to the U.S. Which is known as one of the if not one of the largest consumer of sports in the world, and and all of that's coming to North America, right? So it's like
Yeah.
really really going to be exciting to see how that plays out, how that just gives us more and more opportunity to be part of the world of sports.
Yeah,
And,
I
and
think I think with World Cup, I was just thinking about that. That will launch something new as well as far as technology, because there's going to be so many eyeballs. We're in the AI world. It is going to be a transition sporting event. Not only for this country but for the globe. And I think it's going to be where we get excited. DataArt is there's so much intersection now with the focus on data and understanding the consumer right now. So you're going to have the largest audience ever watching a sporting event, and the actual profiling and maintaining that fan through understanding them through data is going to be huge. And the systems and the scalability, everybody has to get ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things we've seen. We've seen in all of our companies just embracing not only just technology in general, but now AI, and how can you now really provide an enhanced level of information
That's going
to
to be, yeah,
whoever your consumer is, right?
right.
We see it with our basketball tech company called Shot Tracker, and what they're able to do, I mean, is just incredible now through the use of AI, and what they do, enabling you to just literally use one of the examples in one of their products is you could literally just talk to your phone, and if you're a Division 1 basketball coach, let's just say, or you don't even have to be a D1 coach, but just you're a basketball coach and you want to just say, hey, look, tell me all the out of bounds plays that UCLA does underneath their basket in the last 2 minutes of a game, right? And like all of a sudden that information just literally shows up, and you can literally watch those highlights of what they do at that time, are it's incredible to now see and be able to provide that information for you as a general manager, right? A new thing. 2 years ago, we weren't talking about general managers of college,
Yeah.
um, football or
Programs.
basketball
Yeah.
teams, right? We aren't talking about that, but now they have those, right? And you now need to be able to figure out. Your two guard just went into the transfer portal. You need another two guard. Well, you only have X amount of dollars to pay that kid. You want to have someone who has similar stats. You want someone who has maybe the similar stature. Well, you put in that information. I want a two guard that's 6'4" and shoots 30% from three, and is and I could pay them somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000. Show me who's in the portal that I can take a look at. Right? That's the kind of thing where boom, we can provide that information for you. This is something that is it's brand new, right? It's brand new, but now you're using tech to enable you to do your job better, for you to be able to, provide more information for the head coach of a team, be able to make that decision as to who you're going to go after, how you're going to spend your money. It's unbelievable. I mean, and that's the other part of it, right? So with all this technology, and you mentioned like all the World Cup, and we're gonna be as we do currently, we track every single movement that every player makes on a field at the highest of levels today. Well, that kind of stuff's all the way going all the way down to the youth side, but let's just stay on the professional side. Now, what do you do with that information? How do you now present that information and enable, you to present that information to the fans so they can have a better experience? Now, if they want to bet with that information, that's sort of next level stuff that you're able to now do. There's a number of companies that are working on things like that. You also just have all that information so that you, as a coach, whether it's on the sideline or in the dugout, to be able to use that information immediately, for you to be able to take that information as a general manager and figure out what you want to do next. For you as the executive in the in the front office, to know just how much food has been eaten, how many hot dogs, how many sodas, how many beers, to really, really take it to the next level. All those types of all that is really going to the next level. And then it's just amazing. How do you use that information, to have a better, experience for the fans, right? And who are sitting at home and watching the game, right? That's where all this stuff can be used. And how do you make sense of all that? It's all through the use of technology.
Right. I mean, even going back to, your example of, 5 iron, um, that those situations or those settings are only enabled by technology. Without technology, you could never have those types of competitions, or those types of social, or arrange those types of social gatherings with such ease, right? You have to call 10 people, say, guys, gals, let's meet up at yeah, this address, go to MapQuest, print out the directions. Don't don't get
I
into an
like that
accident.
MapQuest,
MapQuest, yeah.
We're
Took a
showing our
couple of
age,
those
Russell.
out of my, yeah, geez. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
so
this
I
has
mean,
been great.
yeah.
Well, but
Um,
it's so true. It's taking the information, and then look, as we know, right? If we've got to hide the tech, right? I mean, the tech, you can't be thinking about like, oh, I'm using technology. No, you're
Mhm.
right.
just doing things that you do in your normal life, and it's just the fact that now it's tech. I mean, it's really, one of the things I was thinking about, I was watching a movie with my wife the other day, and like just how much you see the even actors, right, in shows and in movies, how they're using their phones to, and you see them searching, or you see them, like these are the types of things where it's like it used to be, it used to, and you actually know what they're doing. Like it used to be kind of more science fiction-esque, where it's like, no, you really can't no one can really do this. But now you can do all this stuff. That's where all these amazing entrepreneurs have taken it, where you can now use Um, you can use everyone can everyone can use technology, right? I mean, and it's not it's and they're not thinking about it as tech. It's just part of your everyday life.
Yeah, I mean, it's like second nature.
Especially
Like
Gen Z. The Gen Z, that generation where sports needs to focus and sports betting needs to focus, they're not, it's just there. Everything's real time. To them, everything's real time. There's no waiting for a movie to a movie theater. There's no waiting for a record to come out. There's no, the only thing left in their life that's appointment is sports, you know. But everything else is at their fingertips.
You're exactly right. I mean, and that's one of the things like our company, Diamond Kinetics, on the baseball side of things, which is, an official partner with Major League Baseball. And we do incredible things on the technology side, everything from putting sensors in bats and balls and all that kind of stuff, and doing amazing things around that. But at the same time, being able to now, you know, through streaming and through just using technology to be able to provide an ESPN like experience on
okay,
a local softball or baseball field or volleyball court or
mm,
basketball court just by being able to pull out your phone and starting the video, right? And then all of a sudden, because of all the stuff that's in these things, right, to enable you, plus our tech, and that that our company's built on top of all that, to be able to provide and create an ESPN like broadcast at a field that may have no lights, no electricity around it, but someone's got some cell service, right? And they're able to just stream that game, and someone halfway around the world, it could be a grandmother or the mom who's on some work trip somewhere, is able to watch their son or daughter and get all the latest stats, all the latest information, see their child, and see their child literally doing the same things that professional athletes are doing, is incredible. To enable the kids at that field get the same type of information that you see the professional players get, because when they come off the field and they're in this on the sideline and they're on the dugout, they're looking at an iPad, they're looking at a computer, they're looking at a screen to be able to figure out, what did I do in that last at bat? How did I miss that shot? What was the defensive alignment, right? How do you and but to now be able to have that all the way down on the youth level, this is part of that overall professionalization we're talking about.
yeah,
And what is enabling all that? What's enabling it all is the kind of stuff that we do, right?
Right.
yeah.
So as far
And
as
what you just mentioned that type of those type of capabilities. Again, going back to some of our clients who are focused on scholastic sports, that's something that they lack, and just working with them through some of their pain points, they still do a lot of things manually, like running to a football field in a high school stadium and setting up a camera and then taking it down. And there's somebody like back at home base monitoring, that the feed is stable and clean and the connection is good. And some fields like don't have the connections. I mean, it sounds like what you just described could be a way to resolve a lot of those pain points.
Yeah, I mean, it's why at Diamond Kinetics we acquired a company called Sideline HD last year, which is just a simple way to very quickly um, stream games. And then, if you happen to miss your daughter's at bat, that at bat, in her softball game will be, texted to you within 30 seconds of that last at bat, and it comes to you. But at the same time, imagine this. Imagine your son hits a home run to left center field and his favorite player is Aaron Judge. And literally in the same screen, split screen, it's you seeing your son hit that home run to left center field, but then there's Aaron Judge right there as well, hitting the home run and running around the bases together. And these are some of the early things that we're doing with Major
Mhm.
League Baseball and Sideline
that's
HD and
cool.
Diamond Kinetics, and really thinking about how enhance the overall fan experience, the player's experience. I mean, this could be the thing that enables this kid to really dream big and want to really try to become a Major League Baseball player. Or maybe just someday they're just they're the biggest fan ever, and they're taking their kids to the game in 10, 15 years from now, right? So it's that sort of thing that's happening. And what's driving it all, what's the core of all of this is tech. And I'll make it even larger point. I mean, one of the things that when we talk about the overall asset class of sports and we talk about what's happening with so much, money's coming into this world. We talked about the $10 billion for the Lakers, the 6.1 billion for the Commanders, and just the prices on the NWSL, franchises. I mean, it's just unbelievable to sort of see
Yeah.
how much money is floating around. But there's a reason why that's happening, right? I mean, there's a reason why some of the smartest people in the world from Wall Street and some of the biggest private equity players are playing in this world. They're playing in it because they see growth. They see the fact that this is a $3 trillion industry, but they know it's going to get bigger. They also know something else. And this is one of the things, and this is where we really play. When I say we, all of us on the tech side of things, when you really think about how tech, data, and analytics will really enhance these businesses, because that's what we've done in every other industry. So you look at like the sports industry, and you look at the fact that about 80% of team revenues are pretty much locked in at the professional levels. That's tickets and TV, and that's the stuff that's like your table stakes that you have. But that other 20% is the growth. That's where you try to figure out how are you going to make enough money to keep this whole thing going. But imagine if you can somehow change that equation a little bit. Imagine if you can get that equation to like 25% to 75-25, and that 5% is through the use of tech, data, and analytics. So now you're able to reach your fans in different ways. You're able to enable to please them and have them have incredible pleasure to be able to now you know be able to just enhance that experience, whether they're at the stadium, whether they're at home. How do you monetize your fan? How do you monetize this in a different way? And also just make it in a way that everyone just loves it and it's just part of your life. And really think that's where our part of the world, when I talk, what we do at 76 Capital, what you do at DataArt, to be able to bring technology to the world of sports, it's going to incredibly enhance the amount of money that's being made across all of this, just because it's going to make it better. It's going to make it more fun. It's going to make it more accessible. It's going to enable us to have the personalization and customization of that we want. It's going to enable us to just be able to watch our kids and grandkids in ways that we never once thought. We could have their information at our fingertips. I mean, there's just so much that we now have to be able to like have that one-to-one relationship with your favorite, athlete. These types of things are, we've been talking about all this stuff, but like we're right there now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Tremendous
That
gains
kind of
and
sums
yeah.
that kind of sums up the everything right there in that speech.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, tremendous gains in technology. Just like I said at the top, Wayne. Like let's look at a year ago, not even 2 years ago, how much has changed. Like what's ahead, right? And as you mentioned, the ESPN app. I mean, that will be probably a game changer. It sounds like for the industry, and then who knows what comes after that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there's a reason why the smartest people in the world are investing so much money into augmented reality, extended reality, like the whole AR, XR. What's going on here? I mean, like it's amazing with the Apple Vision Pro, what they
Mhm.
have, that's V1. That's a big computer on your head. But man, when you put that thing on, you start to see the possibilities of the future. And now you see Meta having, just invested all this money into Luxottica, the eyeglass
Right.
company, right? Okay, like what's going on here? Like this is like the next thing is about to come. It's a reason why, we're, so bullish on what we do and the investments that we made in that world. I mean, certainly our company Quintar and what they're doing around that, as the official, AR provider for the PGA Tour and working with a number of other leagues around augmented reality and what you can do. But right now, we're like maybe not right there, but we're really close as to like what that will look like and what that experience was like, right? I mean, like I talked about earlier, it's like, oh yeah, you're in movies and people are just, doing their thing on their phones. But like 10 years from now, you're gonna be like, oh, remember, can you believe how old school that
Right.
was? They were doing stuff on their phone. Like,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
gonna be
It's
because
the
it's in there.
glasses. Yeah. My son's friend already wears his meta glasses golfing and posts it on YouTube, and it's watching his shots and everyone's following his shots, and it's that's coming in sports and in golf, and all the sports are going to change because of that.
Yeah.
You're
It'll be fun.
exactly right. No, he's ahead of his time, learn from what he's doing, try to figure out,
That's right.
but like that's what's happening, right? You still have like that's kind of like the bleeding edge still. It's not all the way there, but you could just imagine what that's going to look like so that we all can have that, and even with it's just incredible to see what ESPN's doing and it's all going to be able to you're going to be able to have this customized and personalized, experience with the app using a TV control. But imagine like when you're just looking at the screen and you're just looking at the screen and things are happening. You talked about Cosm. I mean, Cosm is amazing, but imagine like if we were in there and each of us had our own experiences when we were looking
Mhm.
at that unbelievable screen and eating
Yeah.
really good food, right? I mean, like it's gonna all happen, right? It's just gonna take a little more time, but we need to, continue to invest in these types of companies, work with entrepreneurs, keep dreaming, keep trying to really think about like what is the next thing that's gonna come down the pike. And the amazing thing is that, we have so many, really great people running the top sports leagues today. The executives are all in. They're leaning in. They're interested in figuring out how to do this. You have worlds that had never once come together. I'm sure we've talked about this in the past, but like, the gaming industry and the casino industry and the sports world, that was like two things like, whoa, we don't talk to each other. In 2018, it was like all of a sudden now we have to talk to each other. We have to sort of get to know each other. Now we're really starting to get to know each other and think about how we can do more together. And then, as we said earlier, you've got the tech industry, which has completely leaned in. It was really hard to find people in Silicon Valley that were believing in sports tech. Now they get it. They're in it.
Right.
They're going deep. It's exciting to see that. The bringing all of this private equity, all these dollars into the world of sports, is amazing. And it's not only just private equity here in the U.S. We're talking about sovereign wealth from all over the world.
Yeah.
That's the big thing and to remember, right? This is not a U.S. thing. This is a global thing. Sports. You've got, just the overall, change, I'll just call it, of college sports and where that goes. It wouldn't shock anybody that's following, what's happening in college sports that, we have separate leagues for football and basketball, college football and college basketball, in the next couple of years as these different TV contracts and other contracts start coming up and, you try to just kind of figure this out. I mean, who would have believed, right? Who would have believed that there would have been an executive order from the president of the United States, on college sports? But that happened, right?
Yeah.
So like these things are there's a lot going on, um, and there's a lot of interest, as we've said. I mean, there's so much interest in sports and overall gaming, and just people just want to have it's almost like the getaway from everything else that's going on in life. I mean, because look, if from all the tech that we're doing, if AI, all of a sudden shrinks our work week to like 3 or 4 days, what the heck are we going to do with the rest of our time? Right. So it's going to
Golf.
golf.
Yeah. Play
This is
sports.
this has been a good chat. This is like Wayne. We could have Wayne part one, two, and three in this conversation.
We're just getting going, Kevin. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, we'll have you back on sooner than since the previous episode.
Yeah,
Um, well, excellent. Again, thanks a lot, Wayne, for all the time you gave to us today. We really
all
appreciate
that
it.
time. It's great.
Yeah. we look forward to our next conversation, and seeing you hopefully in a couple of months at G2E.
Absolutely. Well,
All
keep
right.
up
Yeah.
all the great work you guys are doing.
All
Yeah,
right. You
thank
too.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks.